Good morning, everyone. Millions of Americans, maybe some of you even started to work from home during the pandemic. Now many employers want workers back in the office, but the managers are being met with some pushback. CBS News correspondent Christian Benavidez reports.
For a few months during the pandemic, Celine Da Silva worked from home, but her employer eventually brought her back to the office, and she went back to her daily hour-long commute until one day she had enough.
How did you tell them, I'm not coming back?
I started by telling them I wanted to be independent.
For Da Silva, that meant working remotely.
They couldn't offer me that.
She's part of a growing number of workers who would rather resign than return to the office. In a new survey by Fiverr, an online marketplace for freelancers, 42% of workers said they'd consider quitting if forced to be back in the office full-time. That's at odds with what the survey shows companies want. Nearly 70% of large company executives and managers want their employees in the office 5 days a week.
Basically, managers want things to go back to 2019.
Micha Kaufman is Fiverr's CEO.
About a third of the managers want employees to return in order to monitor them. Then about a quarter of those managers want employees to return to ensure that they take shorter breaks.
Da Silva now does freelance jobs from home. She's making more money, but working more.
For some people, you leave work at the office, but if your office is at home, what does that mean for you?
Well, I never stopped working.
So even if you have to work more, the flexibility is worth it?
Yeah, totally.
Da Silva says the perks of making her own hours and avoiding a commute will keep her from returning to a job in the office. Christian Benavidez, CBS News, Hallandale Beach, Florida.
And that survey also found that 1 in 5 workers said there's absolutely no incentive that would make them want to return to the office. Well, there are so many people who had a terrible flying experience this year, stuck in airports for hours, some people even days on end, and their luggage ended up who knows where. But many Southerners do know a lot of unclaimed baggage ends up in Alabama.
Just like the name implies.
We sell unclaimed baggage. We have contracts with all major airlines, and so we get them sight unseen.
Unclaimed baggage in Scottsboro has 50,000 square feet of items lost along the way, from books to clothes and shoes to designer handbags.
Just a couple of weeks ago, we happened to get in a Birkin, which is the most elite handbag, the most luxurious handbag in the world.
The store gets new inventory every day, and mark your calendar for the beginning of April. That's when the store could see an uptick in inventory due to the recent air travel meltdown over the Christmas holiday. Airplane tracking website FlightAware estimates upward of 12,000 flights were canceled last week nationwide. Amid the chaos at airports, baggage claim lines stretched as far as the eye could see. For those who weren't reunited with their luggage,
Southwest and other airlines will go to work, and for 90 days they're going to try to get these suitcases back to the original owner. And if that's not successful, then they'll make their way here to unclaimed baggage.
The store is a bit of a travel destination itself. Brianna Jackson traveled from Atlanta just to check it out.
Just came to shop here.
Now her message to the original owners of the items she got:
I hope I got your bag. I'm sorry if I got good stuff, but it's going to a good home. I promise. Promise.
Reporting in Scottsboro, Emily Mosner, News 19.
Scottsboro is about 30 miles west of Fort Payne on Highway 35, or you can head east from Huntsville on Highway 2. It will take about 50 minutes to get the unclaimed luggage store from Huntsville. All right, millions of people are finally home after the holidays, and while thousands were, as we just mentioned, stuck in airports, so many more were on the road. Unfortunately, New Year's and the days surrounding it are some of the deadliest on U.S. roads, taking about 400 lives a year. That's according to the National Safety Council. Drinking and driving is a big reason why, but a new report finds risky behavior is happening really all year round. Astrid Martinez has that story.
In May, police responded to the scene of a deadly crash that took the life of NFL player Jeff Gladney and his girlfriend. Investigators say Gladney was speeding in this vehicle when he clipped another SUV. He lost control, flipped into a bridge pillar, and the car burst into flames.
The risk profile of drivers out on the road today is fundamentally riskier than it was before COVID.
Jake Nelson from AAA says many risky behaviors that were declining are making a comeback.
The number of people who admitted to driving while impaired by alcohol, cannabis, speeding, texting while driving, a whole range of risky driving behaviors has increased dramatically.
A new survey finds the percentage of drivers who admit speeding actually fell to 45% in 2020, but then jumped to more than 50%. Driving impaired is also a problem. The number of people who admitted smoking cannabis before getting behind the wheel is up more than 13%. Drinking and driving rose almost 24%. The results come as traffic fatalities increased more than 10%. Many of those deaths were from speeding.
The number of people who both say that speeding is a dangerous activity to engage in, but also admit to doing it themselves has increased over the last several years. You would have to travel 100 miles, traveling 80 miles per hour instead of 75 miles per hour, just to shave off 5 minutes from your travel time.
Nelson says the faster someone is driving, the higher the risk of causing a deadly crash. Astrid Martinez, CBS News, New York.
After the holidays, many Americans are considering cutting back on alcohol as part of Dry January. You may have heard of it. Michael George looks at the health benefits and the best ways to succeed at it.
Mahina Douglas loves to socialize, but lately she's been thinking about cutting back on alcohol.
I just felt like my drinking was getting, I guess, a little more than I was comfortable with it being.
She decided to try Dry January, a month-long sobriety challenge. She even hired a sober coach, Molly Desch.
Dry January actually has a ton of benefits. Aside from the health benefits, you'll have cleaner skin, you'll sleep better. You'll also save money.
Consumer insight group Valink says more than half of Americans say they want to reduce their alcohol intake. A study published in the British Medical Journal shows people who gave up alcohol for 1 month had significant improvements in their health and lost an average of 4 pounds. Desch says introducing a new hobby like exercise can help replace drinking.
And also have an accountability partner. So if you know somebody that also wants to participate in Dry January, boom, sign them up. You guys can text each other throughout the day if you're having a hard time. You can celebrate milestones.
Research also shows people who participate in Dry January often continue to drink less 6 to 8 months later.
Is the hope that the benefits of this will continue beyond January?
Yes, very much so. I'm looking for a lifestyle change that I can keep with me forever.
Douglas says since she stopped drinking, she's already noticed she's sleeping much better. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
And sobriety coaches also say telling friends and family that you're trying Dry January can help incentivize you to stay committed through the whole month. All right, many Jackson businesses are feeling the financial strain because of the water crisis there. Marie Menefield spoke with a longtime Jackson resident and business owner about how the water situation is affecting him in more ways than one.
Tracy Smith owns Smith Barbershop and Salon. He has been cutting hair in Jackson for well over 20 years, but he wonders how much longer can he continue operating under current conditions.
But I'm actually looking at moving because, it's happening too much. And like I said, I know it's money coming, but it's happening too much. I can't keep the place clean. We flushing the toilets, pouring water in the toilets to flush the toilets. I'm having to pour water into a mop bucket because we don't have any water, and I'm buying water. It's becoming an economical strain. It really is. But I know how to improvise. I know how to make things work, but I'm tired.
Outside of not being able to offer full services, his central HVAC system operates off a boiler, and with no water, the system is not functionable.
The water in this building is, this last time, the heat. It's cold right now, but there's no heater, there's no air conditioning in this building because of the water. The system is on a boiler, so there's no heat and there's no air. And then when the women can't wash hair in the beauty salon, and they telling the other women to come in with your head already washed.
For him, things are so bad, he has had to adjust his prices. charging less than what he was years ago, adding it's difficult to operate a business when you don't have an essential component like water. In Jackson, Marie Minifield, 12 News.
All right, coming up, the Salvation Army needs your donations, but not like this. We'll have that story just ahead. Many charitable organizations depend on and even survive on the generosity of others, but one nonprofit, Loading Docks, has become a donation dumping ground. Our Rosalind Friedman has that story.
This is what workers at the Columbus Salvation Army were doing first thing Wednesday morning, cleaning up piles of clothing that had been dumped outside the building over several days.
Thank all the donors who give constantly their donations, but we are falling into some issue with the donations. The donors who are bringing their donations and dropping off when we are not open.
Captain Pradeep Ramaji says their loading docks have become a dumping ground for area residents over the weekends, and they can become a mess to clean up after stormy weather.
Items are not useful, which can be presentable to the customers, then that will go into the dump.
During COVID, the store hours and staff were cut to save money. However, the constant dumping has created a larger bill for the organization.
Due to this untimely donations and all this added up, this year I have to spend $5,000 for the whole year for dumping charges.
Ramaji says before you unload your load, check the store hours.
Thank all the donors who gives their donations, which we can process, and that helps the Salvation Army. That's how we are surviving.
Telling your story in Columbus, Rosalind Freeman, WCBI News.
And the captain says that the store is looking to increase its hours soon to help receive those incoming donations. An unusual therapy for Parkinson's disease is gaining some popularity. Meg Oliver shows us how the beloved game of ping pong is helping patients with the neurological disorder.
3 years ago, Robin Seltzer was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. The once athletic 67-year-old symptoms were so bad he could barely get out of bed.
I lost 70 pounds. I was flapping.
Along with physical therapy and medication to manage symptoms like tremors, stiffness, and slowness, Dr. Alana Clark at Hackensack University Medical Center offered a surprising option.
When your doctor first said you should do ping pong, what was your reaction?
My reaction was, how could that help anybody?
Dr. Clark co-founded the New Jersey chapter of Ping Pong Parkinson.
It incorporates a focus on balance, hand-eye coordination, and the rhythm or pace of reciprocal play. So it really hits the trifecta of physical, cognitive, and social activities.
Every Tuesday night in River Edge, New Jersey, Parkinson's patients, or pongers as they're called, play with volunteers of all ages called hitters.
When I start up, I'm a little stiff, my shots are a little bit off, my timing's a little bit off, and I'm a little bit frustrated. And then after about 15 or 20 minutes, suddenly things kick in.
How long does that last in terms of feeling a little bit looser and more relaxed?
I'd say it lasts at least a couple of days.
The goal is to improve attention, movement, mood, and social connection among people striving to outpace a progressive disease.
It's kind of opened me up to new experiences. Like I've thought over the last few weeks, maybe I could get back on skis, even if it's just going down the bunny slope. I really miss that.
Robin told me he finds ping pong so intoxicating, he is training for next year's World Championships. When you look at how much his physical condition has improved in the 8 months he's been playing, you can bet he'll make it there. Meg Oliver, CBS News, New York.
And Parkinson's disease is more common in men than women and impacts 1 in every 100 people aged 60 and older. Coming up, creating a sculpture could take months, even years, but not for these modern artists. We'll show you just ahead on Mid-Morning. All right, this morning we want to tell you about a remarkable innovation that's changing the way timeless art is created. For centuries, world-famous Carrara marble has been used to make some of the most iconic sculptures in history by famous artists like Michelangelo. His creations took hundreds of hours. Now, as Chris Leavesay shows us, a new type of artist is speeding up the process of bringing this art to life.
It was the marble of Michelangelo, Canova.
And now,
it's called 1L.
a robot, 13 feet of zinc alloy doing the work of an army of Renaissance sculptors, says Giacomo Massari, the owner of Robotor, the company behind this invention.
It's working right now on a Venus sculpture. I think it's going to take about 4 or 5 days.
And how long would it have taken you before 1L got the job?
A couple of months.
That's a good employee.
He doesn't go on holiday, doesn't get sick, doesn't even sleep.
Crafting statues at an industrial scale and speed.
It's coated with the diamond powder.
Diamonds?
Yeah. Synthetic
wow.
diamond powder, yeah. It's the best cutting system.
In the very hills of Carrara, where Michelangelo sourced the marble for his David and Pietà. Today, art stars like Jeff Koons and Maurizio Cattelan work closely with Giacomo, first to transform their ideas into 3D images, then sculpt them into blockbusters of their own, with a precision that's superhuman.
So this is like the Photoshop of sculpture.
Yeah, more or less, yes. It saves a lot of waste, and if there is something that is wrong or you don't like it, you can just go back. The cool thing about also this technology is that we allow the artist to think without any limit.
Thanks to a synergy of software and robotics that might be the real work of art.
What do you say to somebody who's scandalized by this, who'd say Michelangelo would be rolling in his grave?
Robot technology doesn't steal the job of the humans, but just improves it.
Some humans, however, might disagree. Here in the workshop of the Florence Cathedral, sculptors like Lorenzo Calcinai have maintained and repaired the cathedral's vast inventory of marble statues for centuries, the old-fashioned way.
We risk forgetting how to work with our hands, he says. I hope that a certain know-how and knowledge will always remain, although the more we go forward, the harder it will be to preserve it. But even he admits this profession can't remain anchored to old technologies. Outsourcing is nothing new. Renaissance masters, including Michelangelo, hired teams of anonymous artisans who executed their concepts.
Today, some artists, like Koons and Cattelan, are upfront about using the robots. Others prefer not to advertise it.
I think art is related to the thought. So if you can imagine something, it's already a unique piece of art. And with people like us that are just the contemporary artisans, there are people that bring this idea to life.
But while these modern artisans are no doubt extraordinary, even they require old-fashioned humans to apply the finishing touches. Giacomo says 1L hasn't achieved perfection on his own, yet.
How close are you now? Are you at 100%?
Not really, not really. I think, let's say we are at 99%.
99%?
99%, but still the human touch makes the difference. That 1% is so important.
Chris Livesay, CBS News.
Carrara, Italy.
It is a 3-show crossover event, all NCIS, all night long. A preview ahead on Mid-Morning. All right, NCIS fans, get ready for this coming Monday night's ultimate 3-hour crossover event. For the first time ever, all 3 NCIS divisions will come together to solve a very personal and high-stakes case. And for the series stars, it was also a lot of fun. We have your behind-the-scenes look.
Seriously, how do you guys work here?
What do you mean?
It's big stuff. We've never done a crossover with these 3 shows. It's going to be all in one night.
You're going to see NCIS, then NCIS Hawaii, and then NCIS LA. It takes 3 hours to tell this storyline.
Well,
and
it was a big case.
To travel
It was
around
too big for one
country.
team.
Someone called the Guinness Book of Records. I think we have the most senior field agents at a crime scene.
NCIS fans will be able to dive into the NCIS verse.
To coexist in the same world is something that I feel like the fans have been waiting for a while.
It's great because it plays like a movie. We've never done anything quite like this, so this is going to be fun.
Whatever we stepped into, it's big.
The reason that we all come together
is because there are some kidnappings.
We are tracking some very elusive people, and I'm not even sure how many people it is.
It's something to do with a sort of CIA operation of assassins.
We have so many do-gooders and go-getters. We're all on the case together.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Damn, Jimmy.
There are a lot of amazing actors from the other parts of this franchise that I have always wanted to be working with.
But in a cool way, it feels very familial.
There is this friendship and closeness and that relationship that is like fun for the audience to see, fun for us to do.
There's a reason I think that we're all under the same franchise umbrella. We all are cut from the same cloth.
No, all in all, I think it went pretty well. We should maybe think about doing this again sometime.
Yeah, hard pass. It's just a blast, man. We're just having a great time.
This is a 3-way crossover. That's crazy.
Seeing another universe meld into another universe. It's like Spider-Man swinging into like Batman.
It just brings a different energy.
As they say in NCIS, one team, one fight.
NCIS verse, baby, we do this. We do this.
All right, don't miss the 3-hour NCIS crossover event this Monday night, January the 9th, starting at 7 p.m. right here on WCBI TV. And we'll be right back to wrap things up. All right, we are all out of time. We'd love to hear from you, so stay connected with us. And if I haven't told you this week, Happy New Year. We'll see you next time.